All right, and with that, we're on to our headliner tonight. Our headliner is Ray Hilbert, and he is the CEO and co-founder of Truth at Work. It's a non-profit ministry founded in 1998 who specializes in helping Christian business owners leaders build strong organizations and integrate their faith into the marketplace. He's also a highly sought-after national speaker. Ray also works with the Orlando-based Man and Mirror ministry, in which he conducts seminars and retreats across the country. Ray has also co-authored a novel titled The Janitor, How an Unexpected Friendship Transformed a CEO and His Company. Available since 2007, it's already become an international bestseller in South Korea. Ray has worked with some of America's top corporations, conducting training and seminars in industries like automotive, production, healthcare, manufacturing, and various organizations. He co-founded an inner-city church and food pantry, played college baseball, loves golf. He's a husband of and a father, to a son and 2 girls. So please join me in welcoming our Sparks headliner, Mr. Ray Hilbert. Let's set that down.
All right, how are you? He read that just like my mom wrote it. That was really nice. So, hey, how would this event be different tonight if when we walked in and started networking, well, first of all, what's the question we normally ask people first time we meet them? What do you do? And we immediately draw a conclusion to some value to them as a person based on their answer, yes? We draw mental pictures based on their value, based on their answer. What if the question we first asked, rather than, what do you do? What if the question was, who are you? The room might be just about as quiet as it is right now. Because it's kind of like when you ask somebody, how are they? You hope the answer is great. Because if they really told you what was going on, you'd actually have to care. So what I want to talk, and Chris said, you got 10 minutes, and I said, I'll be brief for as long as possible. But what I want to talk about tonight is in 10 minutes or less, how to find your life purpose. How many of you would be interested in a question like that? To really understand, why am I on this earth? I am. But let me tell you a quick story. In 1997, you heard my background in ministry and those sorts of things. But in 1997, I was working for a very large organization. It was called Promise Keepers. Maybe some of you have heard of that. We did large conferences around the country. We had 60,000 guys we'd bring together for a weekend. We would talk to them about being better husbands, better fathers, those sorts of things. My wife and I worked in the ministry together, and I come home one Friday night only to discover my wife had left me. And I later discovered the reason my wife had left me, as she said to me later on, she said, Ray, I saw the kind of man you were capable of being at work, but you weren't that man at home. And friends, it rocked my world. I felt like the biggest phony on the face of the planet. And I once was told that the difference between a smart person and a wise smart person learns from their own mistakes, a wise person learns from someone else's. And what happened was I felt like the biggest phony on the planet, and I began to research and discover everything I could possibly get my hands on to discovering my life's purpose. Why did God put me on this earth? Because I felt like a failure. Maybe you can relate to that, maybe you can't. But I was the biggest phony on the planet. At least I felt that way. If there was a workshop, if there was a book, if there was an article, if there was a speaker, if there was anybody on this planet talking about life purpose, I was becoming a student of theirs because I desperately needed to understand who God had created me to be. Just like that's the question we all face at some point. Because here's the deal, gang. I teach my kids this. We all go through this great battle. And I think we've all been taught this great lie, in America particularly, that the purpose to our life is this. That what we need to discover, first of all, we need to discover this question. Yes, who am I? Secondly, what is my purpose? I'm going to get to those 2 questions in a moment. But this great lie that we've all been taught, we've been taught from the time we're this old, is that what we need to go, finish this for me, you need to go to school, study real, get good, so you can get a good, make lots of, so someday you can. Now, how did you know the answers to my quiz? I've never spoke to you before because you've been told the same thing, that your purpose in life is this. And this is who you are. No, this may be what you do, but it's not who you are. Now, if we were in church, somebody would say, amen. But we're not in church. Can I take an offering, brother? All right. Because here's what the world tells us. The world tells us here's where we'll find our purpose. In power, prestige, popularity, position, or possession. That's what the world will tell you, that that's where happiness is found. That's where meaning is found. And we won't have this discussion right now, but I like to ask this question for debate because I'm kind of controversial. Is Tiger Woods successful? And I would say it depends on your definition of success. Would you agree? Because he's got all this, but some of his past may not lend to the kind of success that we might aspire to. I'm not judging him. I'm just saying there's different definitions for success. And I started studying this, and check this out. In 1923, there was a meeting in Chicago, a long time ago, before the Great Depression, at the Edgewater Beach Hotel. And they brought together the who's who of America of the day. I'm going to put real quickly up on the screen. I know you can't see this in the back, but Charles Schwab, Samuel Insull, the president of America's largest utility, the president of the largest gas company, the president of the New York Stock Exchange, the president of the Bank of International Settlements. The who's who was there. If this meeting took place today, Oprah would be there, Bill Gates would be there, the president would be there, all the big, Jack Welch, all the big shots would be there if we were to assemble a similar group today. How many of you can remember 25 years ago like it was yesterday? The older we get, the faster time flies, yes? I'm at that weird age where I've lost my hair but still get pimples. Time goes fast. So check this out. 25 years later, this was the who's who. What happened just a few years after this meeting? The Great Depression. Now, you won't be able to see this in the back, but there's the result. One of them had committed suicide or died overseas broken alone. Every one of them. They had based their life and everything in it on what they owned and their title and so forth. I got a promise for you. You may never have to see me again. You can thank God for that. But I got a promise for you. When you're networking and you're handing out your business cards, there will come a day when your title will change. Either voluntarily or involuntarily, you're going to lose it all. Somebody's going to take it from you, or you're going to go meet your maker. Would you all agree with that? So our title will change. That's what we do. Who we are is who God created us to be. All right? And so these people needed to come to that conclusion. We got to understand something real quickly. Success is not out there somewhere. Success is not something that someday you will achieve. Success is not something that someday you will become. Now, I want you to imagine real quickly that you're at the end of your life looking back. The average person lives in America almost 90 years now. Okay? And by the way, that's no different. The Bible says in Psalms chapter 90 that you have 80 years. You have 90 years. Nothing's changed. Okay? But watch this. You're 90 years old and you're looking back over the course of your life. How are you going to determine whether you had success or not? I'm going to hopefully convince you in the next 90 seconds it's based on the decision you make now. Watch this. 90 years is nothing more than 9 consecutive decades. Have I lost you yet? All right? 9 decades. What's a decade made of? 10 consecutive years. A successful year is nothing more than putting together 12 successful months. You put together 12 successful months, that is simply comprised of 4 successful weeks in a row, right? That's a good month. Watch this. A good month, 4 weeks. What's a week? 7 days. 7 days, a good successful day is nothing more than putting together 24 good hours. Right? You with me so far? Now watch. An hour is nothing more 60 consecutive minutes. What's a minute? A moment-by-moment decision. You're 90 years old. You're looking back. You put together 9 decades comprised of successful years, comprised of months, comprised of weeks, comprised of days, comprised of minutes, comprised of what? It's the decision you make right now that determines success in life. It determines your purpose in life. It's not what you do, it's who you are. Success is not out there. It's in here. Would you agree with that? And here's a phrase I want you to remember. Success is not what happens to you, but what happens through you. Most of us, we go home tonight and you'll say, honey, did you have a good day? Most of us will judge that based on what happened to us today. Did I get the deal? Did I make a new connection? And those are wonderful things. But it's not what happens to us, friends. It's what happens through you. Does that make sense? Watch this. Here's the lesson I learned. I'm going to show you in 90 seconds how to determine your real life purpose. You ready? Here it is. Don't ask who am I, ask whose am I. Who do you belong to? Don't ask what is the purpose of my life, ask it who is the purpose of my life. Those are two better questions. By the way, the #1 selling book in the world the last 15 years is the Bible. The #2 best-selling book is called The Purpose-Driven Life by Pastor Rick Warren. And isn't it interesting that the book that's about finding your life purpose, the first words in the book says, it's not about you. You got to find your purpose outside yourself, and here's what that looks like. Real simple. Tonight when you go home, I challenge you. Take and write out the 3 to 5 things that need to happen every day in your life. Remember I said, it's those moment-by-moment decisions. If you write down the 3 to 5 things that need to happen every day in your life, if they happen every day in your life, when you look back on your life, it will be successful in your eyes and in God's eyes. That's where you're going to find your life purpose. That's where you're going to find success, is those moment-by-moment decisions. Would love to talk to you more about it, but I'm going to beat the clock by 10 seconds.
Give him a round of applause. That was awesome, man. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Ray.